So I'm thrilled today. I'm thrilled because I'm going to make a Sandy video. Now I know that's supposed to be a sad occasion, but things have gotten so strange that you can only have joy when you think about it. And the reason is, well, there's a couple reasons. First of all, I wasn't going to make this video because I didn't really get affected too bad by Sandy. I did, but I'll get to that in a minute. Second of all, Bloomers just laid another egg. Two of them, in fact. Two of them. It's like Willy Wonka, and he laid the golden eggs this time because these are absolutely insane. And there's a few other things that I want to talk about. First of all, uh, let's talk about how I think people forget the basic laws of economics when there's a big disaster like this. They think that somehow when there's a big disaster that gives them the right to forget basic economic principles, and in fact, that is completely wrong. In fact, this is the time that you want to remember those basic economic principles. What does a great disaster have to do with economics and remembering the principles? Let me tell you. Uh, I heard Chris Christie, who is basically, I guess he was the prize for world's largest pumpkin and won at the fairs this summer, but I'm not sure. All I know is that he's a big loser because in New Jersey, he thought for whatever reason that they needed to make a law that you can't price gouge people because you don't want to hurt people that are, in distress. You don't want to price gouge people. Now, that sounds fantastic, doesn't it? You don't want to hurt people that are in distress. The only problem is it's completely wrong, and you're going to be hurting people. The only way you're going to be hurting people with price gouging is if you don't do it. I don't understand how that's such a hard concept for people to understand, but that's the case. Most people think price gouging, oh my God, you're taking advantage of the poor people. In reality, you're going to be hurting people if you do not price gouge. Why? And of course, he's got to stick his fat ass in there and say, I don't want no price gouging because I want to look good. You got my picture? All right, see, I'm protecting these people. I'm protecting these people. However, price gouging is a great thing during these economic times. People just seem to forget it. Because price gouging is a bit of a made-up word, just like assault weapons. It's more like rationing the supplies. Because think of it this way: if you have a disaster, and this is coming from John Stossel, it's a great book. This is an example that he used. It's a great book I'm reading. It's called Lies, Myths, and Downright Stupidity. It's fantastic. But this is the example that he used. If you had a disaster, and say you needed batteries to keep your stuff running in your house, or you needed gasoline to keep your generators running, we'll just use batteries because it's nice and simple and it's a nice compact package that we can talk about. So, say there's a disaster and you need batteries. Batteries normally cost, I don't know, $4 a pack. Well, if you go to the store and there's a disaster and batteries cost $4 a pack, what's going to happen? You, or whoever gets there before you, is going to say, well, $4 a pack and we got this disaster going on, I'll take 30 packs because I want some for me, my brother, my dog, my sister, my uncle, and my entire families. Because I'm going to make sure I'm safe, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people would do this. A lot of people say, oh no, I'd keep enough for everybody. A lot of people, when it comes to their family safety, will just hoard things like that, when in reality, they don't really need that many things. They just want to make sure. But what you're doing there when you buy these 30 packs is you're making sure that you have 30 packs and all the people in line behind you have zero. So you're hurting the people behind you because there was no price gouging. Now, say instead of $4 a pack for batteries, the price was, I don't know, say $30 a pack for battery. Yes, that's ridiculous. Nobody would pay that during normal circumstances. But these aren't normal circumstances. If it's $30 a pack for batteries, maybe you'll buy one pack and you'll just survive with one pack. And what that also means is you can buy one pack, the person behind you can buy a pack, everybody can get their pack as opposed to you hoarding all of them. And no, there's no clearer example of this than what's going on in New Jersey right now with the gas shortage. Fat fuck Chris Christie. I don't know. There's something about Chris Christie that I really, really do not like. I keep saying fat fuck, but I'm not one to talk. I'm not Mr. Universe myself. However, there's something that I really despise about Chris Christie because not only does he have some of the most abysmal gun laws in this country, but he always thinks that he needs to help people by having more government with these ridiculous laws. I really cannot stand this person. I don't know if I mentioned this, but that's the governor of New Jersey, if you don't know. So, there's no clear example of this price gouging being helpful than down in New Jersey right now with the gas stations. I think 70% of them don't have any gas anymore. Why is that? Because what happened was there was a disaster, and now the lines are about 3 hours long to get gas because people need it for their generators and such. And they charged the regular price. They didn't price gouge people because that's illegal now, thanks to Chris Christie. And they ran the place out of gas because you would see on the news clips somebody coming in with their truck, and then they would take a blanket off of the back seat, and they would have like five-gallon gas containers, and they would just fill it up to the brim because fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, and fuck you. My family's gonna be safe. Fuck you. Anyway, that's because it's about $3 a gallon for gas down there. If they charged a ridiculous price, like say $15 $15 a gallon, maybe you'll fill up one 5-gallon container container and leave enough for everybody else. The only way you're going to be hurting people is by not price gouging. It's a very strange concept for people to understand, just like it's also, usually the concepts that are hard for people to understand are the ones that are correct. It's like more guns equals less crime. Well, people say, oh, there's more guns, there's got to be more crime, but that's not the case. Just like price gouging is a good thing. That's hard for people to understand, but it is, because if you don't, you're going to be screwing a lot more people over than having some people pay more because they're not going to have the products. I myself would rather be mad that I have to pay more for gasoline to keep my house warm than to not have any because everybody hoarded it because you didn't price gouge. So that's one thing. I think some people forget some basic economics when there's a disaster like this. The other thing that I want to talk about is first, well, the people in New York City need to smarten up a little bit. We were out of power here for, we had a lot of flooding around here in Irene, and we still didn't do as bad as that. I think it's because a lot of people in New York City are, like, coddled, and again, this is not everybody. Some people smartened up, but some people in New York City and New Jersey and other places that were affected think that the best way to get through this situation is to freak out and to, like, loot and cause problems and all this stuff, and that always happens during disaster. But I've heard a lot of stuff on the news about the people in New York City flipping out, and it's only been 3 days. Now, I understand that it's not a normal situation. It's all right to be a little, on edge, but I don't think that, some people are handling it correctly. I think they've been coddled in the magical fun land of gun-free New York City. We'll talk about that in a second. There's an absolute gem coming up. You'll love that. But I think that they need to get a dose of the real world every now and then, and they don't live in this walled-in garden that they do. So that's, I don't know, I just think they wouldn't, some of them, not everybody, some people have been doing very well, but not some people need to get a taste of the real world down there in New York City. But another thing that I want to talk about here is, basically, I guess I'll talk about now what has happened to me, in relationship to Sandy. I lost power twice, but it was only the day that it happened, which I don't know, it was like a couple days ago. I forgot when it hit. I lost power twice, but it was only for like 1 or 2 hours each time. It was no big deal. We didn't even really notice. I was like sleeping at one of the times that it went off, and I woke up and it came on soon thereafter. But it really wasn't no effect here, no flooding, no even really high winds, no damage. So it didn't affect me. That wasn't the same for everybody. I know here on YouTube, because I know Vinny S914. He lives in Westchester County, which is right on the border of New York City. Apparently he got it pretty bad. His apartment was out of heat and water and all that stuff for quite some time, and I think he just got it back recently. So we're thinking about you there, Vinny. We're hoping that you're doing better here, and you can get out to making your video about your fantastic experience. Good thing you prepared. I did see your video on that, so that's good. But now, the main star of this whole ordeal here, Michael Bloomers. You're not going to believe that Bloomers did something crazy. I know it's unbelievable that he would do something crazy, right? You can't even believe it. I know you think I'm making this up, that he did something crazy, but not only did he do something crazy, he did 2 things crazy. 1 was ridiculous, and 2 was probably the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my entire life from Michael Bloomberg, and that takes a challenge, so we'll save that for last. First thing he did, he said, though there's people still in, they need a lot of help. There's people that don't have any electricity, no heat, and they need, some assistance. He thought it would be a good idea to have the New York City Marathon. Isn't that fantastic? He thought that we should take a lot of the personnel who were out there actively helping people in this storm and go put them on protecting the runners detail, and having these courses go through all these potentially dangerous areas with traffic that's already backed up. We're going to have roads closed. That's fantastic. Let's have the New York City Marathon during this time of crisis. That's just a great idea anyway. But that was laughed right out of the park, because people thought that was the most crazy thing they'd ever heard, to have the New York City Marathon during this time. Just absolutely insane. So he canceled it, because he got such a backlash. Now, I thought, okay, that's Bloomers just being stupid again, because if you know my channel, you know that I do not like Bloomers, and I'm not really surprised by anything. But this genuinely surprised me here, this next one. This is absolutely unbelievable, the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Another thing that he did today was I'm not making this up. If I can get the link, and I think I still have, I will put it in the description box so you can see that I'm not making this up, because this is absolutely not a joke. You're going to think that it is. Bloomers, Michael Emperor Bloomers actually sent the National Guard home. This is even hard for me to say. He actually sent the National Guard home that were bringing in relief efforts, the National Guard. He actually sent them home because they had guns. He sent the National Guard home because they were carrying guns. And he said We don't need those guns on our streets. The only people that should be carrying guns on our streets are the NYPD. That sounds eerily like we don't need anybody else with guns, but only my personal Gestapo can have guns. He sent, I have to say this again, he sent the National Guard home because they had guns. He sent the relief effort of the National Guard home because they had guns. Now, we've known, I don't even think I can formulate words for the absolute stupidity that is right there. We've known that he's absolutely crazy if he's not banning big sodas, if he's not banning all sorts of guns, all sorts of knives, banning formula, baby formula, so, you know, you have to use your breast milk. If he's not doing anything ridiculous like that, or banning salt from restaurants in New York City, banning trans fats, banning smoking in public places, now he is getting rid of the relief effort in New York City because they have guns. That is the same as getting rid of the firefighters in a national forest fire in California because they have hoses. I have never seen that. That literally is the stupidest thing I've ever seen Michael Bloomberg do, and he's done a lot of them. I mean, they're all like the normal person's stupidity. Like the stupidest thing that the normal person's ever done might be about this level, and Michael Bloomberg would probably be at the moon. But he just went to like Uranus with that. Because they have guns, he sent the relief effort out of New York City. I can't even formulate into words how stupid that is. But I guess the only level I could consider as stupid at is the Bloomberg level. I mean, that's so stupid we could come up with a whole new name for it. So I'll go ahead and put that link in the description. I hope everybody out there who is still getting affected by it, because I know I have subscribers in New York City, is doing better now. I'm really sorry that I don't even want to say I don't want to associate myself with that your dumbass mayor down there, Michael Mein Kampf Bloomberg, is being such a jingleberry about this. So alright, I hope you enjoyed this video. Hope everybody affected by Sandy gets better, and laugh about that Bloomberg situation. I can't get over that, so take it easy.